It's almost 2 years since I first got behind the wheel of a new 308, and at the time, aside from thinking, oh my word, this is fast, and that's because it was a 308 GTI, which, as you may or may not know, has 270 brake horsepower and is a bit of a beast. I remember thinking, this feels really solid, feels different to other Peugeots. I grew up in a time post 205 GTI, in a time where Peugeot's better days were perhaps behind them. You had the 406, the 407, the 806, the 807 and the 1007. They're all acceptable cars, but I doubt anyone ever looked at an 807 and thought, wow, I really must own one of those one day. Then just as I started writing about cars, Peugeot started to get its act together. One of the first cars I drove as a journalist was the 208, and that was lighter, better to drive and finished to a higher quality than its predecessor, the 207. And then Peugeot came out with the RCZR, and that not only proved that Peugeot were interested in making a fast car, but it reaffirmed the fact that actually they knew what they were doing now. This is the facelifted 308, not a GTI, nothing special like that, just a standard 308, albeit with some nice options. And again, it's reminding me that Peugeot is in a much stronger position than it was even 5 or 6 years ago. Firstly, look at it. For 2017, Peugeot have tidied up the details to keep it going that little bit longer until the new 308 arrives in a couple of years' time. And they've given it a new front grille, new front bumper, new rear lights, new front lights, and new wheels. Very subtle changes, but it's added a couple of years to its life. It has freshened it up. It's just a really good looking machine. There's no excess, no aggression, no mess. It's just clean, simple, and in this blue paint, it just looks really, really smart. Similarly, inside it's clean, simple, and well built. For 2017, Peugeot have given it some new seat materials, some other new materials in here. You can get a head-up display, and on all but the basic model, you can get a glass panoramic roof, which just brightens everything up. But what is immediately apparent the second you get in this car is just how simple everything is. In some cars, it just looks like the centre console has been machine gunned with buttons. But Peugeot didn't go for that. They decided to clean everything back. So where you'd used to have controls for the radio, the air conditioning, things like that, they're now controlled through this central screen up here, which also does your sat nav and your phone. And it's just tidy. There's less mess and less clutter. There are new, more efficient engines in the 308, both petrol and diesel, and there's also a new 8-speed automatic gearbox and a new 6-speed manual gearbox. Now, for information on all of the engines and all of the gearboxes, go and watch the video I did back in June, because that was a slightly broader video. This time, though, I'm going to focus on this car, which has got the new 1.2 litre 3-cylinder petrol engine, turbocharged, all new engine, and the new 6-speed manual gearbox. Let's deal with the engine first of all. As I said, 1.2 litre 3-cylinder engine, turbocharged, 130 brake horsepower, 170 foot-pounds of torque. 0 to 60 takes 9.6 seconds, and the top speed is 129 miles an hour. But that's only if you've got 15 or 16-inch wheels. If you've got 17 or 18-inch wheels or any bigger, then it's 0 to 60 in 10.3 seconds and top speed 125 miles an hour. That is a little annoying because this is on 17-inch wheels, so it does 0 to 60 in 10.3 seconds, so it's a slower car. To its credit though, it doesn't really feel like a 1.2 3-cylinder. I mean, obviously it does sound like it once you start to rev it a bit more, but it feels like a much bigger engine than it really is. I think that's just because it's so smooth and so quiet. I mean, cruising along now at 60 miles an hour, I can't hear the engine at all. And even when you're starting up and driving around town, it's very, very quiet. It's only once you rev it out, probably beyond 2,000 RPM, you can start to hear, yep, that's a 3-cylinder. Power comes in just under 2,000 RPM. You've got to wait for the turbo to build and boost, and then fades away around about 5,000 RPM. You don't want to be revving up to its 6,000 RPM red line. That's just a bit too high. What gives a better impression of speed is this little sport button down here, and what that does is it changes the throttle response, makes it that little bit more aggressive, makes the steering heavier, which I find quite nice, but it also changes the noise. Not the noise of the car on the outside, just on the inside. It synthesises engine noise and pumps it through the speakers. It's a bit of a gimmick really, but it helps with the feeling of speed even if you're not actually going any quicker. And then there's this new 6-speed manual gearbox, and I kid you not, there are hot hatchbacks on the market right now that have less satisfying gearboxes than this does. It's just so slick and nice to use. It's just completely the opposite of what you would expect from a standard, non-sporty, very normal French hatchback. The steering is quick and light, very light actually, and you do get used to it in the same way you get used to having a smaller wheel. It's quite a grippy little car too. It's got Michelin Pilot Sport 3s on it, so it can stick. As for the way it handles, it's no GTI, it's definitely not a GTI, but it's quite good fun. Overall, the changes will keep it fresh for another year or two until the new 308 comes along with the new iCockpit from the 3008, which will be really good. Not everyone will be able to spot that this has been updated, but the new gearbox and this new engine, they're excellent. They're really, really good. And the next time you see me in a Peugeot, hopefully, I'll be in the 308 GTI.